usually the most graceful way people will use to try to get out of the selling conversation with you is they'll say, oh, do you have a card? Or do you have a website? That is not the time for you to say, yes, I have a card. Yes, I have a website. That's when you say, oh, let me get your email address and I'll invite you to my next show.
It's the Inspiration Place podcast with artist Miriam Schulman. Welcome to the Inspiration Place podcast, an art world insider podcast for artists by an artist, where each week we go behind the scenes to uncover the perspiration and inspiration behind the art. And now, your host, Miriam Schulman.
Well, hey there, it's Miriam Schulman, your curator of inspiration and host of the Inspiration Place podcast. You're listening to episode number 309. I hope everything is well and beautiful in the world for you. I am just enjoying this amazing spring weather. It's a really wonderful time with my family. I'm looking forward to seeing my mom and my daughter. I'm little missing my son right now. I wish he was with our family too, but he is doing well for anyone who's wondering. We did hear from him recently. Okay, so today's episode is kind of an interesting one, and I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. So some time ago, for my 300th podcast episode, I ran a contest giveaway. And the giveaway was for people who left either a video review of the book Artpreneur, or they left a review of the workbook, or they left a review on Audible of Artpreneur. And those people, not only were they entered to win something, we gave away 3 $100 gift cards, but all the people who entered were also invited to basically a coaching party. So it was like they got coached for a full hour. Now, one thing I just want you to know that was kind of like a lesson out of this is that you will totally fail to get the opportunities you don't even take. So for the video review, somebody said to me, oh, I'll have to work on this and make it clever. And I was like, it doesn't have to be clever. Like when that person had reached out to me, we had legit 0 entries. And then we did get one from your niece, who you will hear from later today in today's episode. And then we ended up getting, I think, a total of 3 entries. So if you had submitted an entry, that would have been a 1 in 3 chance of getting a $100 gift card. We initially wanted video reviews of the workbook. We got none of them. And we changed it to, okay, it just has to be a written verified review. And we got 1 verified review from Tracy. So she got the gift card for that. But I think we got maybe 1 or 2 more reviews. And then we did get a bunch of reviews for the Audible, but really not that many. I think there was like altogether 20 people entered this contest. They were invited for this coaching party. At the coaching party, maybe 12 people showed up live. And I said, anybody who wants coaching, raise your hand. I will coach you. And the 6 people who raised their hands are the ones you're going to get to hear from today. So there is a mixture of artists on this call. Some of them have already been through the Artist Incubator program. That will be the first artist you'll hear from, Janina Jelly. And she, using just by selling her art to raise money for brain cancer research, she raised over $200,000 from her art, which is absolutely an inspiration and a wonderful way for her to use her art and the monetization of her art to do some good in the world. So you'll hear from her first. You're also going to hear from some artists who are not in the Artist Incubator program. When that happens, I am going to point out to you like what it is that perhaps they could have gotten if they were part of the incubator. For example, we have one artist who was really struggling on what to put in her emails, and she did know that if she was part of the incubator, she would have had all the templates and the resources available to her. But I did coach everyone in this coaching session, all 6 artists who I coached all of them as if they were inside the incubator. I didn't say, hey, nah, I'm not going to tell you what to do that. You have to buy my program. So you will get to hear some very specific strategies of what they need to do. In addition, I will also let you know if there's people who are in the coaching program who their question is perhaps a follow-up question. So I'll give you some background of that as well. All right. So without wasting any more time, let's get into today's episode. Hey, before we get into today's podcast episode, I actually wanted to make sure that you knew that the next cohort for my inner circle is beginning in the middle of June. As of this recording, I have 3 spots left. The inner circle is a level above what people inside the incubator get. The incubator has everything that artists need to succeed. It has the coaching, it has the accountability, support, curriculum. The main difference between the inner circle and the incubator is inside the inner circle, you mastermind with me. And you're getting my expert advice every step of the way of how to handle all the situations, as well as a community of peers that are achieving and doing great things. For this June cohort so far, we have Lynn Samus is one of the artists in there. She sold $15,000 of art during one of our challenge months, which was the most she ever sold in a month, thanks to this program. We have Amy Smith, who also is a very successful artist, and she's working on building her membership site. We have Chris Holt, who's a very talented surrealist oil painter. We have Alyssa Peak, who runs 2 art businesses, actually. She has a very successful photography business, and she wants to add on a fine art business, which she does have some success with, but she wants to make it even more successful. To learn more about that or to check out the incubator, you can learn more about all my programs. Go to schulmanart.com/BIZ. That's SCHULMANART/BIZ, as in B as in boy, I as in ice cream, Z as in zebra. If you want to upgrade, you can just email my team. We'll set you up with an appointment with me so we can discuss if it's the right move for you. I only want people in there who it's a great fit for, not a sales call. If that's you, reach out to us, Miriam@theinspirationplace.net. All right. And now let's get on with today's episode. Ginny, are you ready for coaching?
Nice.
So Ginny, you've been inside the Artist Incubator Mastermind, and you were part of that very first mastermind.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
I did.
In fact, you were actually the first person who reached out to me and says, would you coach me?
Yes. And I did a private coaching with you for about 8 sessions or 9. And then you started the incubator.
Yeah.
So then I went ahead and jumped into the incubator because it was just fabulous. There are no art coaches out there. And there are coaches for business and for art itself, but not art business coaches. So you were the one, and it was amazing. Everything I learned was fabulous.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of all the gains you made, like with your open studio. I remember I coached you on the open studio, and I forget what you made the first open studio. I want to say it was $3,000. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And then the second one, I think you made $14,000.
I did. And it was all donations. So it was amazing. All the artwork that I had been collecting all those years, people came and bought. It was a fundraiser, so that helped.
Yeah. Always helps when people know that it's going to go to charity. I tell a lot of my clients now that one of the best ways to sell art is to partner with a charity and give a portion of the proceeds to the charity as if it was a gallery. So that's wonderful that you were able to support a charity. You want to give a shout out to that charity, since that's something that I'm sure is dear to your heart?
Dr. Al Halou, it's for brain cancer research. And it's amazing what he's done and what he's doing and what they know now about brain cancer that they didn't know 20 years ago. So my daughter and I raised $285,000 for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a huge win.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That is phenomenal. That really makes a difference too.
I think so. I think he's going to find the cure, find the way to stop those glioblastomas from taking our friends.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm
And
smiling.
how's your daughter doing?
She's great. It's stable. Her cancer is stable, and she had preserved eggs before the chemo and radiation, and she has a baby boy.
Oh,
Who would have thought? And so we're just loving and living. Every day is a gift, and we're thankful. And any chance I can raise money with my artwork, that's my mission in life now. So it's fantastic.
that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and inspiring everybody with that. So how can I coach you today? What are you struggling with?
I'm ready to hire somebody to help me. I
Okay.
cannot, it's too many balls in the air.
Yeah.
I'm staying focused. So I need another person. And I want to Anna. I can't steal Anna, I know. But I remember when you and Anna started and when, I could just see the growth that you were able to make. And I would love that. I would like an Anna, and I just don't know how or who or what you delegate. You do it so well.
Yeah, I'm just so lazy. And poor Anna has to do it all. Right, Anna?
I don't think so.
I was like, oh, I don't have to do that. Okay, Anna, you can do it.
Yeah.
And then if Anna doesn't have time, we give it to somebody else. So we hired Addie to help Anna. So Anna's too busy. She has someone to give it to also.
Awesome. Well,
Now we have, just so you guys know, because I don't think I talked too much about the size of my team. So I used to remember back in the day, I'd hear other people say their team. I was like, how do I get a team? Like a team. Okay. So I started off with Anna when she was, I want to say Anna, and you can correct in the comment in the chat. I want to say she was 19 and she was a student at Purchase College. She was an art history major. Purchase College is in New York. It's one of the SUNYs, and they have a job bulletin board, which most colleges have, and community colleges. And so that was a college that was closest to me. And one of the reasons I picked that one as opposed to one of the other New York schools, it was a commuting distance to my home. It was like a 20-minute drive to my home, but also that they have an arts management program. But I wasn't specifically looking for somebody who necessarily had arts management. I did like that Anna had art history because I know that a lot of what happens in this job is writing about art. And it really helps to have somebody who's interested in art. But I haven't always hired people who met that criteria. Before I had Anna, I had interns. I used to have summer interns. So in 2013 or 2012, I forget which, is when I started online classes. And when I had the idea to start the online class, what I did was I had a summer intern and I said, tell me what software I should buy, what kind of video camera I should buy. And then the phones weren't as sophisticated yet. And by the way, anyone who does want to make an online class, I still think you should get a real video camera because the lens on the phones are just not as good as the lens you're going to get even on your cheapest digital camcorder that you can get like on eBay or Amazon. So I said, tell me what software to buy, what camera to buy, and now teach me how to use it.
Okay.
So he was a summer intern. Before Anna, I was paying the interns $10 an hour. I also had interns that I would get from the local high school. So the local high school has a program for the two programs, actually. They have programs for seniors for the last 6 weeks of school so that they don't have to work. They can do an internship for 30 hours a week. So I've had, I think, 1 or 2 people come to work through me through that program. And there's also another program that they have for high school students. They have an alternative school called the A School, where in January, those kids don't have to go to classes for all their classes. They can do an internship instead. So those were free. I do prefer paying people. They're more accountable to you when you pay them. So this was $10 an hour, but don't forget, this was back in 2013. Now the minimum wage is $15. Anna gets much more than that, by the way. Don't worry, Anna's not starving. So Anna now has with me 401k, paid time off, and healthcare. She's a full-time employee. It's not just 10 hours a week. But when I started, she was 10 hours a week. So that was $100 a week for $400 a month. And yes, it made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's where I'm ready. I just don't know what I want them to do.
Everything that does not need to be done by you.
Okay.
Which is pretty much anything on the computer.
Like
editing photos.
Okay.
Posting on social media.
Listing artwork on the website. Got it. I could do more website work. Okay.
And also when Anna, in 2020, January, February of 2020, she told me she wanted to move to Vermont. And so nothing to do with COVID. She actually went remote in March of 2020 with COVID, but then she moved to Vermont in April. So I had to go virtual with everything. Up until then, she came to my studio, but that was a really big change for us in 2020 was how to run things remotely. And then that's when I started to take on more remote help.
I think I just need somebody that's like really willing to work side by side with me and virtually or not. And I get you just need to pay them. I just didn't know what tasks, like how much do you hand over? And do you have a disclosure sign?
No.
Worry about your...
I mean, you can have them sign a disclosure. All right, Jenny, you've got this.
Thank you.
Get started. You're welcome.
Hi. My name is Rachel Sherrard. The Rainbow She is my business name. And I'm kind of just starting out and I've been doing the like markets a little bit. Like I know you said is the nightmare, but I kind of had just started. So I guess my biggest thing is like how to get clients. Like I do live streaming. So most of the people who I've done work for, like commission projects for, have been audience members in my stream that I've decided to order from me, but I am looking for like a larger, pool. Like what's your advice on that? I guess.
Tell me the kind of art you do.
I do wood burning. So it's wood burn and then I paint on some of them.
Okay. When you go to whether flea markets or whatever do you collect email addresses when you're there?
I have not been collecting email addresses yet.
That's the fastest.
No, I have not been because my website is not set up for that yet.
One of the best ways to start collecting emails is you make some postcards. They kind of look like that. Okay. I think I may have the actual one sitting around somewhere.
Oh, literally have people manually fill out their email address.
Oh, yeah. And this is much better than having a clipboard where people write it. People do not want to put their email and name on a clipboard because they're paranoid about privacy. There's something that gives a different energy when you make these postcards because you're handing them a postcard to fill out. There's almost this reciprocity. They feel like they're being given something. And you can have them fill it out whether they buy or not. When they're thinking about it, I usually, as soon as they come into my space, is when I ask them, hi, I would say, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm the artist. What's your name? As soon as they tell me their name, I would write it down on the postcard. Now, they may not, and they may end up not giving you the email later, but at least when you talk to them, you don't have a situation where they just told you the name and you forgot it 2 seconds later. It's really key to refer to people by their name. Like you see how when I say Rachel, blah, 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 like you see how good that feels? Like, oh, she like is actually cares about me. There's something. And by the way, whenever I go to a restaurant, I always ask the server what their name is. I get such better service because I'll say, hey, Julie, blah, blah, blah. It's not like, hey, you get me some water here. So you get their name. And when you're talking to them, if they buy while you're wrapping up the thing, say, okay, would you mind just filling this out while I wrap your thing up? If they end up not buying, usually the most graceful way people will use to try to get out of the selling conversation with you is they'll say, oh, do you have a card? Or do you have a website? That is not the time for you to say, yes, I have a card. Yes, I have a website. That's when you say, oh, let me get your email address and I'll invite you to my next show. As simple as that. And if there's any kind of traffic at a show, if it's a 2-day show, you should be able to pick up 100 emails every weekend that you do a show. Okay.
I guess that I like the whole email thing is a big thing for me because I feel like once I start collecting emails, then I have to start sending out emails.
Yes, you do.
And then sending out emails is the stressful part. But and I
No,
know
only if
that
you
you have
tell it, only if
stop in
yeah,
here.
only if you tell yourself it is.
I guess like what to put in an email. And I know that, yeah, in your intensive program, you have like, you give templates and stuff, but without that, I'm just trying to figure it out, so
Rachel, are you posting on social media?
not as often as I should be.
Well, how often are you posting on, let's say, Instagram?
At this point, it's like when I think about it, which is probably like once a month or twice a month, honestly.
Okay.
And I know
So
that's not enough.
it's not. So you got to think about it. If this was your boyfriend and you only texted him once a month, he would not be happy with you. So you
Right.
got to treat your collectors like they're your best friends and you stay in touch with them. So 3 times a week on social media, and whatever it is that you would be posting on social media, pick one of those ideas and put it in the email.
The most recent sale I did was a pet portrait, a commission project that was someone's dog that I burned a portrait of.
Okay. So that's basically 3 emails right there. The first email is, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to get to paint or wood burn this bulldog and maybe show the picture of the dog. And I chose this piece of wood that I'm going to be working on. And if you're interested in getting your dog too, click here and you can find out how to get a portrait. That is an email. Second email, a week later. I've made this progress on the dog portrait. Look what I've done. So do you see that? The third one may be, it's done. Look at me.
Got you. So like in progress shots and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that too.
And on social media, you basically the in progress, like every day, show them, okay, this is what I did today. That's it.
Okay.
All right. You got this.
Thank you.
Hey there. I just wanted to jump in after we heard from Ginny and Rachel. And the types of things that they were asking me are exactly the kinds of work that I do with my clients inside the inner circle and the incubator. However, because of these types of questions, I decided to add 2 brand new trainings this year to the incubator. You absolutely get a lot of content inside the incubator about email marketing. But what some artists are telling me is they really want to understand when I sit down, like what is my thought process from beginning to end of how I create my email? Like what is the system? My current incubator members are going to get a brand new training about an email writing system. They actually voted during my last Ask Miriam Anything call about what training they wanted. And the number 1 training they wanted was the email marketing system. And the second training they wanted was how to hire help, which is what Ginny was asking me. So those 2 trainings are going to be forthcoming inside the incubator. And if you're not in there, why aren't you in there? It has everything you need to succeed. Again, you can check out everything I have to offer, as well as anything that might be free going on, free trainings. Head on over to schulmanart.com/BIZ, B as in boy, I as in ice cream, Z as in zebra. We will link that in the show notes today. This is episode number 309, and you can find it linked up there. All right, and now back to the show.
I'm trying to get away from the corporate job, obviously, but I run a website, rafterburn.com. I sell digital abstract art. And I think kind of some of the challenges that right now that I have are just like I do a lot of different things. So kind of, that garage sale mentality you talk about in your books. I've learned a lot and I think I'm doing a great job. But yeah, it's just really just just kind of narrowing down what like my niche will be and really like hitting it hard. But I really like your content and everything so far. I've started on your book and reading that. But yeah, I have a lot of it figured out right now. I have, the website and production, and I'm really starting to, I guess, get into it. I guess the other thing too that I think a lot of people struggle with, and I do myself, actually, like that was an amazing idea you had with getting that email from everybody. Like when you go out, to a a sale or like where you show your art, I probably need to print off some of my stuff too. So I do the print on demand thing. So there's just an unlimited amount of, I guess, products that I can offer, but it's like, I guess, my question is like, what do I really focus on
Yeah. I tell my clients not to focus on print on demand products because there's so little profit in them. Like you make maybe 80 cents off of a mug, right?
right?
Those of you who do those print on demand, you can tell me what the going profit margin is. You have to, if you want to make $50,000 a year from your art, and some of you want to make more, you want to make 100,000. Let's just go with 100,000. How many mugs and products do you have to sell to get there? So if you can do a pickleball digital artwork and print it out really large and sell that for $2,000, now you only have to find 50 customers to buy this $2,000 digital art on metal of a pickleball court that's really cool. And that would get you to your goal of 100,000 a lot faster. Does that make sense, Patrick?
But you're saying like print it out, like, kind of punt, not really punt, but go for it. Get like this large format, whether it's a canvas or a rug, and sell it.
I wouldn't do it as a rug. That's going to be a very hard sell. I know that a lot of us have this thought that products that have utility are easier to sell, but it really isn't. The ones that are easiest to sell are to go high end. We do have digital artists who are in the group. So Suzanne is a digital artist and she sells to interior decorators. And Suzanne, you're selling your art between $2,000 and $3,000. Is that right?
Sometimes more. That's the low.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
So I go after interior designers because they're repeat customers, and a lot of their clients, if they're hiring an interior designer, then they have, extra cash to spend. But I don't have it at my home. I print when they order. So when they order something, I can make it to the custom size, and then I send it to my printer and he ships it there directly. And that way I don't have to pay a lot for inventory. I mean, that's what I do. And I only offer one medium. I print on HD metal. So I don't do canvas. I don't do other things. And that's my specialty because not a lot of people print on metal or HD metal. They print on regular metal.
Yeah. Patrick, I haven't seen your art, but from what you're describing, that might be a good substrate for you as well, because you have like this AI generated, might be a cool thing. But you as the artist need to make that decision. So I would, look at what are your 3 best works, get some samples of them printed, and then make the decision. And this is for everybody. There are websites where you can do a million things print on demand. I don't think that's a good approach for customers. They do not like having all of those choices. Just like we don't like making choices and decisions, our customers get overwhelmed when there's too many choices and they end up not getting anything at all. So, Patrick, I hope that helps you with some of your problems. Do you have one more question you want to ask before we move on to Suzanne?
But like you said, just maybe print off like one of you said best pieces, like in a high format, like type situation.
Well, I think you should make some small prints to see if you like the way it looks.
Right.
Okay. But you don't have to, if you're a digital artist, you're basically in the business of selling prints. So if you're going to a show, like our friend Rachel is going to a show, she's bringing physical work with her. If you go to a show, you need to bring some physical work with you.
Right.
But if you're selling online, you can put it digitally into a room. But now you have the task of building up a clientele that you can email and get to your website. So that's a different task than going to, I do think Rachel's approach of going to these in-person markets is a great approach because everyone who goes there is interested in buying things, especially if you go to a higher end art fair, not necessarily something where there's, where you're next to the corn stand. You don't want to be next to the corn stand. So, make sense, Patrick?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, you got this. All right, Suzanne. Hello. Nice to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. So my question is back to my website. I understand that it's overwhelming and I have too many things. My question is, how many categories can you have before it's too much? Like, can I have 3 categories, maybe beaches, graffiti, and cities, and call it a day and just have like 10 images on each, or just keep it at the one category and call it a day? I'm kind of struggling giving up because there's so many pieces, I'd never be able to show them. And
Yeah,
if you put it in this quarter-
three is good. 3 is
Okay.
probably not going to be too overwhelming. But don't forget that you can rotate things. You can
Right.
I know these are all your children and you want them all to be like shown and represented and, but
Yeah, I'm just afraid that even with rotating, if I don't have, let's say, 3 categories, it'll never get out there. And if you're there today and you're looking at this quarter's beaches, whatever it is, you won't know there's other things.
oh, I think that's having a scarcity mindset around things.
Okay.
That you think, well, if
Okay.
I don't show everything, the way to think about this, it's kind of like if you go to a boutique, a potter's boutique, and they had every single thing on the table, it looks very garage sale. But if they have pottery and they have like one beautiful bowl, and then like here they have the 4 glasses, it looks curated and high end. Or if you think about Chanel bags, they don't have every Chanel bag that's possibly available in the store. And
Right.
people who like Chanel bags will go back to the store. Okay, let's see what's new. And if you train your customers, the designers, to know that this is what you have now and have that FOMO, well, if you don't get this now, it may go away when we rotate the next collection. That could be
Right.
a good selling point.
Right. But I'm thinking more of the average person because I want them to be able to shop on the website, but it probably works the same way.
It's the same way. Like there was this one absolutely true situation. I think I talk about this in my book where I needed an athletic bra and I went on Athleta, which is a subsidy of the Gap. And there were literally like 200 different bras. I was like, I can't make a decision. I don't know what the difference is. I can't look at all these things. I'm sorry. So I end up not doing anything.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
I just have to break out of my
if,
scarcity.
I need to have just these are the 5 things. I don't want to see everything. As another designer I follow, Brittany Allen, and I sometimes buy her workout clothes. And sometimes if she has too many things, it's a turnoff to me. Oh, you mean you make that, blue rosebud print? I can get it in a skirt and a top and a this and a that. And if I'm going to wear it, I'm going to see 20 people coming down the street in the same thing. So like having things curated, you're doing a benefit for your customer and you're also making things more high end. So this was recorded way back before Easter and Passover. And since this time, Suzanne did make all these changes to her website. It is unbelievable. I would actually say that her website is an example of excellence now, SuzanneK.com. And you also heard from her during the Artist Success panel. That was a few episodes ago, a bonus episode I did. But I just thought I would play that clip again because now that she's curated her site and she's really honed in her email game, she found that she sold from one email to a small list of 168 people, $2,700 in art from one email to a very small list. And that's really encouraging for all of you out there who either are just getting started or maybe you've been at it for a while, but you haven't built an email list, just to see what kind of results you can get and how quickly you can get them. So let's listen to this clip.
The marketing templates are a game changer for me. I'd spend hours struggling for details, but now I have these templates that simplify everything. I just drop it in. Being with you, you're exposed to so much more. Your resources, the books you've recommended, I've read them by other authors. You helped me critique my website. And I learned about having too many things on my website and people just shut down. The emails, I followed your program for the emails. I had nobody on my list. I did a marketing campaign for 168 people and I sold 2 pieces of art. One was 1,000 and one was 1,700. But I mean, I did that in a couple of weeks. Whereas when I learned the difference between email marketing And, social media, it was crazy. I took back control. Social media controls who sees my art, and now I control it.
I
Which was
love
very
that.
big for me.
Okay, now back to the show.
It's your niece. It was good. And I'll just say this. I was really surprised about all of the information that I got, because here I'm also a woman in my 50s. I went to art school years ago and ended up switching careers because I heard the same thing that you say in your book. One of those mental things that I used to hear all the time: artists don't make money. And even though I loved it, I went to school for it, and that's all I ever wanted to do. I'm doing it, but I want to do it full time, and I want it to be profitable, right? So some things that I'm doing now, I started teaching again. It was one of those things that was suggested some years ago. And the reason I didn't go into it, and this might be, I guess a lot of artists will find this to be true. I was always told, or I used to hear that, if you become an art teacher, that's because you weren't good enough and you couldn't make it out there in a real company. So now you're teaching. So it's like, I think I carried that. And when you were talking about in your book about these mental blocks and stuff, and so as I'm reading, I said, that's me. Man, that's me. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that was really actually holding me back part of the way too. So, and also 100% believing, stepping out there. I stepped away from, my job in 2016. I just took the leap of faith, and God still has sustained me and my husband in the process. But I want to take it to another level so that it can be truly profitable. I get some projects, like right now, I'm on display at a place. I'm from Indiana, so I'm at a display in a couple of places. I'll be a live artist there next week, as a matter of fact. My goal is I want to be able to be an artist full time, because I believe that this was my gift that God has given me. And I just finding this book and all of that, I believe it was divine order too, because that's something I was praying about. And I just happened to see your boot camp last year. And I was like, I don't usually fall, something, you look at these things, I said, and I kept reading and I said, you know what? Let me just check this out. I said, you can't beat free. And it's a boot camp. I've never, ever done that before. So even being on there, and that's when I was inspired to buy the book. And then as I'm reading the book, and I slowed down because I thought I was just going to go straight through it. But it's so much good information, and you're challenging us to not just procrastinate, learn. That's one of the terms you used in the book, because that's what I was doing. It was like, I want to understand what I should be doing, all of that, long story short. So anyway, my question is, would online classes be a good idea to kind of move forward as far as the income wise, so that, because I'm also doing another part-time job on the weekends besides doing what I'm doing. And it does cut down some of my time of studio time. I'm enjoying the classes, teaching live, because it's really kind of putting me back out there again. And I'm really enjoying that. I know how to do a little bit of this, ink work, painting, drawing, and those are classes that I'm teaching: drawing, painting, ink work, and color theory, things like that. But when it comes to selling the pieces of artwork, if you look at my website, I have sections of those. But I'm wondering, something that I read in your book, having being sort of a smorgasbord of things, and people don't know what you really, really do. So I'm wondering if I should just, as far as my own work, focus on what I enjoy. I love doing portrait work, and I love doing concept illustration. Those are my two favorite things, and some abstract, just to free myself up when I'm doing the more intense stuff.
Yeah. So, the stuff that you do for classes, what I would do is make that available for sale to your students.
Oh,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of teachers do that. They will set up a table in the back of the class, and they just these are the class demos, and you can offer it at 50% less than what you normally offer, because they're a demo. That's how you can position it, and not put it on your website, and just only put on your website the art that really speaks to your soul.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. And like I said, I'm still looking at the book, still writing my notes and I'm slowing it down. I read some of them today, but I really appreciate it because I think it's so far as the best book that I've seen that really kind of spoke to me at my stage. Me being in my 50s now, and I'm like, man, where was this book 30 years ago? But
you're welcome. That's why I wrote it. This is the book I wish I had 30 years ago when I
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there wasn't a book that really told me what I needed to know.
Stephanie Raposa, abstract artist. I'm starting to get into the interior design space. So it interested me hearing, I think it was Susan. Kind of want to see like what her work is like too, because I'm kind of going that realm, but doing the physical rather than the digital. Well, they start out digital and then I take the canvas. But so I've been seriously painting since 2018. So for a little bit now. And then I'm a graphic designer, part-time to full-time freelancing right now. So
okay. And then how can we help you today?
So I'm going through some of the training and I'm interested in I started email marketing a few months ago. My list is low. I've got around 85 to 90 people on the list right now, but I'm looking to create that free offer that you talk about to get more signups. And I think I wrote down, I was either going to do the free collector's guide, or since I am wanting to move towards the interior design space, I thought about creating like a guide for like how to choose art for your home kind of thing. Cause I started to write a whole blog on it. And then I realized, well, this could really be like an offer gated rather than just a blog post that I put on my website. So I was wondering, do you think that might be more valuable than doing the free collector's guide, or?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. The collector's guide really is just showing your art in room views. And don't overthink it. You do not have to be the expert interior design guru advice. Really, they just want to see what the art looks in rooms. That is enough. And make sure you have like QR codes that takes everything from that page to where they can buy it.
Okay.
So
individual links.
Yeah.
And then once I create the offer itself, get the pop-up on my site, I guess I'm having the issue of like getting, social. I'm not getting any views when I'm posting. I think I'm being pretty consistent. I'm like 2 to 3 times a week posting, but that's obviously not the focus. It's the email. But I'm just wondering like where digitally I can get.
How many followers do you have on Instagram?
Like 740 something, I think.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would start going down your follower list, starting with the most recent follower, and send them a message that says, and we do have this exact training inside the incubator, which you're a part of. It's called Insta Connect. But the message you can start with is like, hey, in case we haven't met, I'm Stephanie. I do abstract art. Thanks for following. How did you hear about me? What I do when I welcome followers is I'll say, did you hear about me because of the book of the podcast? Because I want them to know I have a book and a podcast. If you have, and this is for everybody here, if you do have some sort of credibility marker that, are you following me because you saw me? Like if you have some sort of credibility that you can humble brag about, oh, did you find me because of this thing? And it's not because you want to really find out. If they saw you because of the thing, you're letting them know that you had this thing happen.
Yeah, I'll have that next month. I'm getting in a local magazine here.
Perfect. So, so then, but you don't have to wait till then. I would start welcoming your new followers. And this is the kind of thing, it's a little bit tedious. I usually do it when I'm either sitting in front of the TV or if I'm in the car, a passenger in a car. I'll just go down my follower list. So Monica says, I have a question. So direct message followers asking how they find out about you. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Like I said, we message, I have like 30,000 followers on Instagram. We still message everyone who follows me. We do skip some though, just so you know. If they don't have a picture, I don't message them. The way you message them is you click to their profile and you can very quickly tell if somebody has a catfish profile or not. Like if they only have 6 posts there, I don't bother, especially if it's a guy who only has 6 posts, like it's his it's his creepy profile opportunity.
Troll account.
Yeah, it's his troll account. I don't message those people. So you can see really fast. Also, if they say something offensive in their bio, I don't message them. And for me personally, I'm only messaging artists. For you guys, you're not just messaging artists. But if somebody's following you and it's a sunglass brand, like you just started following whatever, some sunglass brand, 3 sunglass brands are suddenly following you because the robots do that. Obviously, don't message the sunglass brands, but you message all the humans. Okay. What I would start doing, Stephanie, is you're in the incubator, so you can take advantage of that training. There's a lot of good ideas in there for you about how to start moving people from Instagram to your email list and start talking about the freebie, like getting them to DM you, getting them to comment if they want something. And all these this is like up to the minute things that work really well on Instagram. And that's it until next time. Until then, stay inspired. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Inspiration Place podcast. Connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/SchulmanArt, on Instagram @SchulmanArt, and of course on schulmanart.com.